Hello everyone and welcome back to this amazing game. Amazing game? Amazing game. There's an N in there somewhere. Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. Alrighty, so let us continue on down the path, or up the path, along the path, to our as yet unknown destination. That last episode with the combat was a lot of fun. I think, like I said, as much as I love the story, the combat for me is like the most fun element to the game. As cool as the game itself is, the combat is a lot of fun.
I'm here to help you. Senua.
This sounds like... what I was going to say. This sounds like the first kind of communication that you get.
Where have you been? Here she is.
When it first starts happening to you.
We're here to help you. You don't have to do this on your own anymore.
You're not alone type thing.
Don't worry. We're here to help you. You need us. So worried. Silence is lonely. We didn't know where you'd come. We're here to help you. Don't worry. You can trust us. Trust us. Senua, it's us. We won't leave you. Don't leave us. There's a way in.
Into the mountain.
Can you see it?
Shall we tell her where to go?
It's not far. Go on.
Look up.
Just up there. Listen to us. Sit. Shall we take it? Shall we?
Does she know which way to look? Does she know her way into the mountain?
She's a good girl, isn't she? Look. So clever. Did you miss us? Oh, she did. She did.
Are you glad we're back?
She's so glad. Go on. Go up. Go up. Go up into the mountain.
It's got some kind of Mordor vibes to it, doesn't it, this?
There's a door.
You can do it.
You can see it.
Come on, Senua.
Go away. I'm not listening.
Into the mountain.
What's your death?
I will tell you of a great hero named Sigurd, son of Sigmund, no less. Born after his father's death, Sigurd is cared for by the dwarf Rain. But Rain does not love the boy. Instead, he plans to use him for his own ends. You see, Rain's father possessed a great treasure given to him by the gods. But Rain's brother, Fafnir, killed his father and took the gold all for himself. Fafnir hid the treasure out on a heath and could not leave it. And from the evil in his heart, he turned into a dark creature. A dragon.
Stand behind the door.
What is it?
She can feel it.
No.
Don't open the door.
Don't go in.
Turn
Don't.
back. Turn back.
What's in there?
A great beast guards Helheim. Garm is its name, and it knows you are here, Senua. It can smell your stink. What are you afraid of, Senua? How will you save Dillion if you are too much of a coward to step into the shadows?
They can't stop me.
Then do it!
She can't make it.
The beast is stalking you from the shadows. Your sword is useless here.
Run!
This creature feeds off of fear.
Don't be fooled. The beast is still here.
Who is it? Something there. It's the beast.
No,
No, it's not.
it's a trick.
She knows that. Does she? What is that voice?
Mother, do you hear that?
Don't fall for it.
It's me, Senua. It's so loud.
It's not her.
So full of hate.
It's a trap.
I just want to help them. Tell me what to do. Your father wants them to go away. And he only hurts me to silence them. But he's gone now. But they always come back. He says I will die if I go with them. They say that I'm already dead. No, they want me with them. Stop! That's why they crawl through the walls. Don't listen. Do you see them? Do you see their faces? He's coming. Senua, help me! Help! Get me out of here! Don't go!
Where has she gone? She's disappeared again.
She shouldn't be here. She escaped the darkness. She took her own life to escape it.
She can't remember when it started. When her mother lost her smile. Her eyes gazing past her towards a world she could not see. This is what happens if you reach for the underworld, he said. It was a lot to take in for a child. And the first time she felt the cold chill of fear. I don't talk much about her father, Belle. I suppose I just didn't want to risk upsetting her. But it doesn't matter now, does it?
Keep going. She'll have to go under. She can't. She has to. She can't. The torch will go out. Don't let the torch go out. She can do it. She can't do it. The light's gone out. Run! Get through it as quick as you can. The panic is here. Again, run. Run and get as close to the light. Stop. Stay in the light. You have to rest here. Get to the next light. Let's go quick. Run. Look. Fire. How is she getting? Fire. She has to go towards it. She'll have to go through the darkness. The light. She won't make it through darkness again. She's too weak. She will. She has to make it.
So interesting how a lot of this level of experience and fear, a lot of experience in terms of like this is a pretty intense representation of states of severe distress, and it is so closely bound to fear of death, fear of darkness, what lives in the darkness, what creatures, what monsters reside in the darkness. It is, I don't know if many people probably watching this haven't experienced intense panic. Like, you know, people have anxiety, they get stressed, they get jump scares and stuff like that. That's common. But this feeling of intense panic associated with darkness or creatures of darkness or beings of darkness is the reason. What are we looking for here? You know, if such an extreme example of a mental health condition like this has manifested, it's unavoidable that one must look into what is darkness, the fear of the darkness. These so-called monsters, creatures of darkness that haunt you. You know, this part of yourself that you experience while in a state of intense panic. And the only way to go there is to go there. The only way to see what resides in those parts of your mind is to consciously go into those states of panic, into darkness, and to watch and see and face yourself at that level. Now that's a practical exercise. That's something you actually have to do. When I was going through a similar situation to this, I was doing meditation at 3 o'clock in the morning in darkness, alone, trying to face and look at my mind and what was happening within my mind. I feel like I've missed one of the runes. You know, because it's essential to look and to see your mind while it is undergoing and experiencing that state of panic, because it's in those dimensions of your consciousness that these so-called monsters manifest. I mean, you know that it's... I mean, you don't know at the time that it's your mind that's doing it. It feels like it's some force, some other entity, because that is what you are seeing, that is what you are witnessing. But in order to resolve the problem and to know it, it's essential that you can go into these states of darkness. And it's not that's not a metaphor. These are real experiences of abiding in darkness, alone, within a state of intense panic, in order to essentially cultivate peace and calmness and stillness in that environment while your mind freaks the fuck out, so that you can break through the barrier that your mind is presenting. So this is a good representation of kind of how it feels. I don't know what I'm looking... I mean, obviously I'm seeing this rune here. This kind of P letter, looks like a letter P. But I'm not seeing it anywhere, so I don't know what I'm missing right now. Unless it's like carved into the wall. So this harkens back to like experiences I had as a child. These types of manifestations were occurring to me as a young person. You know, I was raised in a haunted house, and I had some very intense experiences of the paranormal, ghosts, spirits, demons. As a child, repeatedly, from a certain age, recurring experiences at night time in the darkness. And as I grew up, these experiences didn't go away. They morphed, they transformed, they became more intense and less intense at times. And what it did for me was it gave me this unshakable curiosity. I mean, it was terrifying. All these experiences are horrendously scary. But I was lucky in the sense that I had enough wisdom to see that although they kept occurring to me and you feel like you're going to die, and you feel like these demons and monsters are going to kill you and eat you and all of the things you can imagine a child would think, I had enough wisdom to see that although I kept falling into that experience every night for years, I knew that I could see that although my mind thought it was going to die, it never did. I always woke up the next morning and I was always safe. And when the light came back around, the sunlight the next day, I was okay. So even though I didn't know what it was that was going on. I had the ability to see that I wasn't really going to die, and that these experiences I was having... Oh, I've gone back around, haven't I? Essentially, not that they weren't real, because that's a very important distinction, but that there was an element of them that was untrue. I wasn't really going to die. These things couldn't actually hurt me, even though they were still happening and they were still terrifying. So because of this, I was able to see through it a little bit. And I was lucky that I came across a path of exploring this reality that I was subject to consciously, and it required this type of conscious exploration of going into these states with awareness, trying to find the source of the problem, the source of my mind. How deep does this fear go? What is this terror? Why is my mind experiencing this? And so, through years of looking deeply in, I was able to resolve it and understand how the mind creates this experience and how it can get stuck there. You know, many people don't resolve this type of experience. They do get stuck in it. It does repeatedly manifest. Okay, we found one, clearly. Why is it not showing up though? I mean, clearly that's the same symbol there on the left. Oh, do I have to light this first?
Hidden in plain sight. She has it. You have it. Keep going. Too more to find.
I mean, I won't go into detail here of the exact types of experiences I had, but many of them were similar to what we're witnessing here
What if you collect them and there's nothing?
and what we're hearing.
Dillian, it's just another trial. It's just another trick. Just to distract her from her real mission. You think you know, but you don't. Your mother is...
But they shifted, they transformed over the years into various different manifestations, and because of the path that I decided to walk, I got to the point where I began to consciously cultivate variation, because I wanted to know how many different ways can this manifest. Once I knew that it was the mind that was doing it and that there was an element of unreality to it, I became very curious at that point. Well, how weird can this shit get? How crazy can I go, you know? How twisted can my mind become, to the point... Because I wanted to know everything, you know, I wanted to see it all. I wanted to see what my mind could do, positive and negative, creative and destructive. So, you know, anyway, I just bring that up because this is a great, especially that, the moments of their running between the dark, from the darkness into the places of light, and finding sanctuary in the light, and being afraid to go back into the darkness. That brought it all back. So, okay, so we've done... It looks like maybe we've done down here then. Let me just double check that there's no other ways to go past this. Like, I know some people getting to this point would not be able to play on, because they are still haunted. But I realised, and this was where the realisation really started to hit me. I would have been around about 20 at the time, after having spent 2 years already training. I started to realise then that it was not that I was raised in a haunted house. I was raised in a haunted mind. The mind of my childhood was haunted, and the people in my life shared this same, as a child, shared this same haunting, though in me it manifested in a way more extreme way. Given my karma, you know, my nature, it didn't affect everybody the same way because we were all raised in the haunted environment. But I was fascinated by it. I guess maybe because it was so extreme for me. So yeah, I realized when I was about 20 that it was a haunted mind that I was dealing with. And that's when I knew that the path of healing the mind and finding peace in the mind was the only way to exercise my mind, banish these so-called demons that were haunting me. So, you know, anyway, I don't know, I'll just being open about what this is, what this experience can mean. And I know a lot of people, like, they might hear that and go, well, that's fucking crazy, or they're just saying, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And that's fine. But at the same time, there are people who, they're not playing a game when they play this, or when they see this. It's not a game to them. It is their mind, it is their experience of this life. And to those people, the ordinary world, the material world does not fucking make sense most of the time. And what people say is true and what society tends to point at as being real is just not. It just doesn't work. Their mind is open in a way that most of society cannot even begin to comprehend, let alone even want to understand or want to comprehend. And for people like that, man, it's a fucking scary place to exist in a world that doesn't get you and can't see what you're talking about. And it not only is it scary, it's miserable and lonely. And you know, I think people like that, to hear that what they're experiencing is very normal for certain kinds of people whose mind is operating in the same kind of way. And to me, you know, if there's ever an opportunity to open up about it, bring it to the surface and help people who may be wanting to learn more about it or a little bit more open-minded, well, every opportunity to do that is a blessing. Really, in the deepest sense of the word. It's all about, you know, how well we can communicate what we're experiencing and how well we're prepared to listen and open our heart and mind up to the potential reality that somebody else's perception of reality may be drastically different to our own. Which, for wise people, raises the question, well, what is reality then? If somebody like myself can have this experience of childhood, where I'm haunted by demons and ghosts nightly, and terrified often by the darkness, and have, you know, experiences of beings manifesting in the darkness and pulling me out of bed, among a number of others. And yet other people can go through life having none of these experiences, not encountering it whatsoever, or not even encountering coming close to it, to the point where they are so ignorant of the fact they believe it's not even possible. What does that say about the nature of reality then? One person can have this very real experience like we're witnessing here. Another person can have, like I said, a totally regular, very real experience. So what does that say about the nature of what reality is? And doesn't that raise a lot of questions around what is real? So that's the path I was led down. Luckily, and I would not change a thing, I'm extremely grateful for having gone through this as a child, because it opened up in me a curiosity that led to profound experiences and profound realizations about life, my life, and life itself, and reality, and religion, and death, and a whole other plethora of elements of experience, human experience, and just life experience in general. The types of things that life experiences, even beyond the realm of human experience. Anyway, I have no idea where the fuck I'm going right now. So, this place kind of looks new, does it? No? No, did we come in through here, or I don't know what?
Rain the dwarf's sole desire is to possess this dragon's accursed treasure, and he uses Sigurd to reclaim it. He tells Sigurd the story of Fafnir's gold, and the good-hearted hero promises to slay the dragon if Rain would forge a strong sword for him. Sigurd remembers that his father once possessed a sword given to him by Odin. Odin broke the sword to bring about Sigmund's death, but Sigurd's mother still has the pieces, and so Rain reforges the famous sword. Sigurd uses the sword first to avenge his father, and then he and Rain go in search of Fafnir.
So I don't remember seeing any other sigils, runes anywhere. Oh, here we go.
The dragon Fafnir is so large and deadly that it would be impossible to kill him face to face. But each day, Fafnir crawls across the heath to find water. So Sigurd digs a pit in the dragon's path and lies in wait in it. When Fafnir slithers overhead, Sigurd sinks his sword into the dragon up to the hilt. Sigurd leaps from the pit, and Fafnir sees his killer. He warns Sigurd that the treasure will lead to his death, as it led to the death of all who owned it. Sigurd replies that death comes to all men, and every man would want to be wealthy until that day. And he takes the treasure.
I'm not seeing any more signs. I'll keep looking for a little bit longer and then I'll get us to the guide. So this is the only way I have to go now, right? So I'm missing something. Okay, it's probably something to do with this place, right? I don't think I've looked everywhere here, maybe. Let's stick to the right wall and see where it leads us. Cool.
The light won't save her now. She can sense it. What's she doing? She's lighting the torch. It's not gonna help us. Defend! Use your sword.
God, this feels so good, the combat here, man.
You can't go anywhere without your light. Take the torch.
Where is it? Where is it? Okay. Combat is fucking amazing. I know it really is simplistic, but it's just like, you know, the impact of the block, and then you know, you fight, you get attacked, you fight, you block, you get that slow motion focus, like it feels powerful in your hands, you know. Okay, what are we looking at here? Okay, so there's no symbol here. Sorry, I thought because that symbol was, but that symbol's showing up by itself. Something about up here, maybe. Yeah. Nice.
She has it. She did it. She's done it. Well done.
This place. It reminds her of the isolating, suffocating darkness that she lived through as a young girl. Imprisoned in her room at night. The faces in the dark, coming through the walls. She once thought everyone could see them. I mean, that's what children say all the time, isn't it? That there are monsters in the dark. By the time she realized that only she could see them, her father, Zinbao, could see the monster in her.
So I tried to talk to my family once when I was 12. So these experiences had been going on for years, but I had a very specific, quite intense, the most intense one that I'd had when I was 12. And like the day after I tried to talk to my friends about it at school, I was like, have any of you guys ever, like, you know, had this happen, or this happened to me last night? And they were, you know, they were cool about it, but they didn't know shit. They couldn't answer. They'd never experienced anything like it. They'd never even heard of it. So I was like, okay, all right, cool. Well, that's fine. And then I think later the same day at dinner time, I tried to. So dinner time is tea time, so that's like 5 p.m. You know, in Britain, in England. And I tried to talk to my big sister about it, and my dad was at the table at the time as well, and my sister was interested and curious about it, but like just didn't know what it was. And that's all it took for me to realize, oh shit, okay, other people don't experience this. And I never brought it up again. Like I could sense in these, even though they were my close friends and my family, I could sense this, not fear, but just like concern, like that's weird type energy they were feeling about what I was saying. Weird in a kind of scary way, but it wasn't, I didn't detect much fear around it. Just like they didn't really want to hear it, and they didn't feel super comfortable thinking about it either. And the fact that I was saying it was like, you know what I'm trying to get at, like a little bit of a red flag moment, you might call it these days. So I stopped talking about it. I never brought it up again, but these experiences continue to happen. Okay, I've just walked past one of these runes, haven't I? So these experiences continue to happen, and it wasn't until I was 18 and I met a monk and a mystic when I had a conversation with somebody who could actually understand what I was talking about and was fascinated to the point of wanting to hear more, and also had some answers for me about, oh yeah, okay, that's unusual for a person to have those experiences, and it means that your mind is operating in a way that you might need to be paying attention to, and there's this whole world of mysticism and meditation where you can go into this mind that you have consciously with intention, with awareness, and you can get to the source of this problem that you have.
Do you feel it? The beast is crawling into your mind, searching for weakness. It found your mother and used her to trap you in here.
Did you see her die? I don't remember. I was only 5. They told me she escaped the darkness, that she's with the gods. But what if they lied? What if the darkness took her and trapped her here?
A mind like this is plagued by a sense of separateness and a sense of individuality, and it has become tortured by its own darkness. The darkness of the mind consumes itself, terrifies and horrifies itself. So in this alternate path of mysticism and meditation and enlightenment, we learn how to bring the mind back to a state of unity, wherein it does no longer experience a sense of separateness, and in that, the so-called darkness, which is perceived to be separate at first, is realized to be one, and the mind no longer, or learns how to no longer fall into terror and fear of itself, and oneness is realized, and peace is found. And there's no more terror, there's no more fear.
It's a trap.
There's
The
no
beast is
more
coming.
of this. You are the beast.
What have you done?
No! No!
You've lost it. It's over.
The darkness is back.
Lost him. You've lost him. Get it out. Get it alight.
Without his head, you will never bring his soul back. His fate is sealed. Now it can see you at your weakest. The time you suffered as a child at the hands of your father Zindo while you pined for Dillion. Do you remember that darkness, Senua? The beast is bringing it back.
Mother, why did you leave me? This darkness, it's spreading. Father's keeping me away from the others. Away from Dillion. I won't give up. I'm not going to rot in here. I'm going to find Dillion.
feel like this game has offered an incredible variety and variation in the gameplay. As much as it's all very, very nicely linked up with each other, it's flowed into new gameplay mechanics very smoothly and very nicely. Almost every episode has felt very different in some way. To me, the player. I don't know about you guys watching it, but you know, the dealing with the various illusions and the different bosses we've had to fight, and now this walking through a nightmare mountain, getting to the heart of the mountain, the nightmare that feels like a mountain. It's all, you know, it just all ties in very nicely with everything else that we've done so far. Feels similar yet different, I think, is what I'm trying to say. Can't manage to... Fuck, I can't... Damn it. Got him. Can't manage to block that shield attack. Haven't managed to get it yet, once. You bastard. Fucking lovely. I want to play that on hard, like I want to have these fights on hard. I really hope that the harder difficulty doesn't make the puzzles harder, which I can't really see how it would. Maybe it could remove like the, you know, where when you walk into an area and all of the runes flash up in the sky and float around. I suppose it could remove them, which would make the puzzles a bit harder. But I get a feeling it'll be exactly the same game but with harder combat, which I'm really down for. Like longer fights, you know, and maybe harder, shorter windows for blocking and dodging, which would be nice. Did I come this way? Did I come this way? I feel like maybe I'm going backwards here. Tell you what, it's getting warm today where I live. It's getting a little bit sweaty in this room. I've got a an inlet, like an ocean 2 minutes away in the car, and there's this amazing, what they call the inlet, you know, where the river meets the ocean. And as the river water is flowing out and it meets the ocean, there's this like island. It creates two different outlets, and so there's one kind of stream, shallow, it's not a stream, but one section of this area where the water is, at a certain time of day, the water is crystal clear, and you can walk out in it up to your neck. From one side to the other, it's probably about 20 feet, like 12 or 13 meters across. Okay, I found it here. This has got to be something. Oh, I didn't touch the door yet, did I? And it's 2 minutes down the road on these hot days. You go down and the water's just crystal clear and feels cool. So, guess where I'm going after this episode is done. So I think I've just found it up here as well, which is pretty good. Oh, I found something. Maybe I've got to look at it from the opposite angle. I feel like that's what I've got to do. Boom. Kind of. Alright, I'll get there in a sec. Clearly there is nothing more empowering than being true, you know. Honest, open, truthful about you and who you are. So as much as some of this stuff that I talk about might sound concerning or disturbing to some of you, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. This is my own art, my own experience of this life, and so for me, this is where reality is at. So, you know, as much as I can appreciate that this stuff might be disturbing, sound disturbing, don't. You don't have to worry, really. At least not about me, you know. And what I'm getting at is, I have no choice. Like, I have to express myself. It will be unavoidable with regards to this channel going forward. Like, you can't hide from yourself, you know. So as much as I won't bring it up a lot, I will bring it up when it feels like the moment calls for it. Okay, I think we've got another balancing act.
And now everybody is dead because of her. It's all her fault. All her fault. She should have known. She should have thought. Why doesn't she learn? Until she learns. She doesn't understand.
Now the darkness has Dillion's soul.
Although Sigurd kills the dragon, Rian wants to keep Fafnir's gold all for himself. Rian also wants the strength and wisdom of the dragon, so he drinks its blood and asks Sigurd to roast Fafnir's heart for him. Sigurd does so, but when he touches the roasted heart to see if it is done, he burns his finger. Without thinking, he licks his finger and tastes the dragon's blood. In that moment, he understands the language of birds and hears them talk nearby.
So these are all reflections of states of mind, experiences on the path of meditation. You know, it's all symbolic.
The darkness will take her like it took her mother.
Deeper and deeper. The beast knows. The beast knows. The lights run out. She'll die.
She has to do it. She'll die.
She has to. She can't.
She's going to go through anyway.
The light will run out.
The darkness will smile.
And she'll die.
Sigurd's newfound power lets him hear the birds speak. And they say, Sigurd should eat the heart himself. Rain wants Fafnir's gold. Sigurd should kill Rain before Rain kills him. Sigurd should find Brynhild the Valkyrie, who sleeps an enchanted sleep. Sigurd is the birds of lies. He kills
I knew that I went the wrong way there.
and find Brynhild the Valkyrie.
So it looks like some of what we have been doing has like lessened the rot at times, because it's grown back to where it was before. So some of what we were doing before, maybe the fights we were having. Where do I actually go though? Okay, this is I thought maybe I could turn right, but it's growing. Do I have to do this again, or? Oh, I do. Wow, okay. Maybe I don't have to go through there. No, I feel like I do. Oh, I could just turn right without running up the stairs. Can I squeeze through here? Nope.
Stop! Stop it! Keep going. Stop it. Quick! She can't get through. She has to. Force it! Force it to reach down!
But this is bad news, guys. The rot is growing closer to her brain. Might have to refer to the guide on this one. Look how close we are. Was there a way through down there, or? Plus the fact that the symbol's kind of floating around here makes me think maybe I don't need to go down that way. Oh wait, there's a shadow here on the wall. Maybe that's a bit of a trick, is it? To be honest, I don't like the thought of going down there again, given how close we are to losing this. Alright, I'm going to refer to the guide. Give me a second. Right, so yeah, I had the wrong idea. I got a little bit of a hint that you actually have to go this way. My game is way darker than the guide. Way darker. They must have the brightness turned all the way up.
What's she doing?
She's lighting a torch.
She's making light. She's making a fire.
She's got light on the other side.
She'll be safe.
So this reference here to light is vital. It's a vital component of the mystical tradition, and in obviously dealing with darkness, you know, enlightenment. cultivating light, cultivating goodness.
She can do it.
So now we have illuminated the path down there, so now we know where to go.
Quick. She can't get through. She has to. Get up. Get up. What are you doing?
Okay, I don't know what to do now.
Faster, faster, keep going, keep going. What are you doing?
Stop. Stop.
Keep going. Stop letting your nose
Quick.
follow you.
Quick.
Stop. Stop. Keep going. Stop letting your nose follow you.
The shadow, okay.
Where is she going? Faster, faster, keep going, keep going.
Shit, did I, oh, I didn't relight the torch. Oh, shit. I don't know how many deaths we've got. What? Why am I... Fuck. Don't respawn me in the dark, please. Yeah, this is bad.
He's close though. She can feel it.
Sigurd learns that Brynhild had once disobeyed Odin, and so he had her punished, stuck her with a sleep thorn, and put her body within a rampart of burning shields. Only a man who knew no fear would ever reach her. But like me, Sigurd is fearless and passes through the flames, just as I did, and wakes the sleeping warrior girl. She teaches him the secret wisdom of runes, namely victory runes, ship runes, runes for persuasion, runes for truth, runes for healing and health, runes for perception and power. Like Sigurd, the greatest young warrior of the North, you must learn the secrets of the runes to fight amongst the gods in hell.
So within mysticism,
I hear you. I'm coming for you.
we basically... Well, I'll get to it in a sec.
Coming. Cillian, I see you.
The beast has Dillian.
No,
It's time
you're not taking it from me.
I warn you, Senua. I can smell your...
No,
You betrayed your god.
I am leaving with him.
You turned your back on me. That is why Dillian will rot in hell.
to fight him. Fight! Fight for Dillian.
Come into my shadow.
What?
people think of evil as an unnatural, invisible force, and so invoke the gods for protection. But evil can come from the hand behind the gods. A familiar hand, cold and cruel. He tried to fix her with his rituals, kept her trapped in that hole. She couldn't say which was worse. The darkness, or the monster that her father had become. She couldn't fight them both. And so she left, headed for the one ray of light that shone down on her. If she had stayed, she wouldn't have survived. But maybe Dillian would still be alive.
I'm so sorry, my love.
She will save his soul, even if this time she can't save her own.
Forgive me, Senua. I know you have no reason to trust me anymore.
Listen.
But believe this, it was my mission to make you hate. To hate the darkness with a passion so great it would focus your mind on this quest. Without it, I fear what failures was that. All this time, I've wanted to protect you from the truth that would have destroyed you a long time ago. But you have conquered your darkness at every turn. You deserve to see behind the veil of darkness.
Then take me to the mountain, as deep as we can go.
I won't stand in your way.
She has to trust him.
You will not survive what is in there.
I know.
She doesn't want to tell. She has nothing. She's come this far. She wants to go forward. This is it.
Give me a second. Alright guys, so I've just checked and I can't really tell how much more there is to this game. I know we're close to the end, but it's hard to talk to you with all of these voices. But there might be one more full episode anyway. However, even if there's not, we're going to call it there for this episode, but when we come back, we will proceed with whatever is about to happen in this part of the game. And there is a special feature, which is, you can watch it, you know, when you first come to the main menu, you can choose the feature to watch. It's like a making of, you know, the making of this game. And it recommends not to watch it until you finish the game, because obviously it has spoilers in there. But once we finish this game, I'm gonna invite you to watch the special feature with me, because I would like to see it. I've never seen it, and I'd be very interested to see what details it goes into. And so if we come back in the next episode and there's only like 5 minutes left in the gameplay, then we'll go straight into the special feature. And if there is like another hour of gameplay anyway, then I'm going to do another episode with the special feature in it after that. So one point is what I was just about to say before, is that within mysticism we learn to see that, you know, every story ever told, every legend ever passed on, every tale ever recorded in what we consider to be human history is written from the mind that we all have. You know, it's all the same life, the same human spirit is behind all of these tales, all of these legends, all of these ancestral stories that are passed on, including mythology. And so we learn over the course of many years usually to see that a lot of these stories that we see are reflections of us. They're reflections of our own psychology, of our own mind, of our own life, of our own nature. And so, to see these stories through the eyes of mysticism and through the eyes of yourself at a deeper level is to gain insight into your own nature through these stories. So it puts a very, very different spin on what we're playing and what we're watching and what we're seeing, what we're learning about, when we know that these elements of the game, so-called gameplay, are reflections of certain elements of our own consciousness. And when people have these types of experiences along the lines of psychosis or schizophrenia or various other states of so-called delusion, from my point of view, it's a wise mind and a compassionate mind that can open themselves up to the idea that my own mind can also be subject to these types of occurrences, and so I shouldn't judge, I shouldn't condemn, and I shouldn't demonize people who do have these types of experiences, because, well, in a shallow way, I can simply say, how do I know that my own mind will not become like this one day? And in a deeper way is to say, I know that these states of consciousness exist in my own mind, and that these tales of legends are symbolic reflections of states of mind that I myself can experience, and that other people do live and do experience as their reality. So, anyway, I would say keep an open mind with regards to this type of content. That's just a suggestion. And, you can learn a lot from, especially from having somebody play these types of experiences who has experienced them themselves, or has a little bit of insight beyond the game, insight into what the game is reflecting. And it won't be all the time. A lot of games aren't as deep as this, but this is a great opportunity to do that, in my opinion. So, please do join me for what will be the last episode of Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. And if it's not the last episode of the game, then the next episode after that will be the special feature. Thank you for joining me for this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.